keep doing this thing, I find something that lights me up and I go all in. Like, this is it. I start reorganizing my life around it, putting that newfound passion on a pedestal. And for a while, it feels amazing. I'm energized, I'm focused, there's momentum, there's clarity. It finally feels like I'm using my energy in the right direction. And then, slowly, that feeling starts to fade. Nothing is technically wrong, I'm still doing the thing, I still care about it, but it doesn't hit the same, you know? It starts to feel old really quickly, and I can't tell if the problem is me or the thing. So I start questioning whether I outgrew it. Or maybe it wasn't it after all. And so I started soul searching again, looking for the next thing that's gonna magically organize my life. And the frustrating part is, every time it feels like the answer, it never feels like a phase when you're in it. It feels like you finally figured it out. And you probably have some version of this too. I think that's where I kept getting stuck. I was looking for the main thing as a source of fulfillment, the one that deserves most of my time, most of my energy, one that defines everything else. And for me, it was like cycles of obsession. One month it's focusing on nutrition and supplementation, another is tracking metrics and achieving perfect fitness. Next time is sleep and crafting the perfect bedtime routine. And most recently, letting video production consume all of my time that I forget to feed my husband. It took me a while to realize that it wasn't about choosing the wrong thing over and over again. My mistake was that I kept trying to make one part of my life do the job of all others, be the thing that fulfills me. Like, if I had just found the right outlet, the right focus, the right direction, it would somehow cover all my needs. But of course, it never does. Not because it's lacking, but because it's not supposed to do that. You can't just keep doing the same thing over and over again, even if it's something you love, because there isn't one thing that's going to fulfill you. At least not for me. There are just different parts of me, as I'm sure there are of you. There's a part of me that needs to create, and if I don't physically get something out of my head and into the real world, I get restless and angsty. There's another part of me that doesn't care about output at all. It just wants to learn something new, to sit with some complex idea, feel my brain stretch a little. And if I ignore that part, I start to feel dull, even if I'm being productive in every other way. One part wants deep connection and community, and yet another wants to be left alone, in complete solitude. One part needs movement and play, another to feel boredom. I need rules and structure, and I also need to rebel against it and break them all. What took me so long to figure out is that none of these things replace each other, because none of these needs are interchangeable. You can't just double down on one to make up for neglecting another. It just doesn't balance out like that. So every time I landed on something fulfilling and after a while it wasn't doing it for me anymore, it wasn't because that thing stopped being meaningful. It's because in pursuit of that main thing, I dropped something else, maybe even a lot of things that I also care about, and I didn't notice. In fact, I almost did this again while working on this video. I got so into the process that I put all of my other priorities on the back burner, letting all of my tasks and desires pile up in the background. And it wasn't until I started feeling like something was off that I realized that this is the same pattern. It's sneaky like that. You don't notice it the day you don't make time for reading, but suddenly your Kindle is collecting dust on the nightstand. Or the week you stop doing exercise because something else has just got you too busy. Or the time you forget to call a loved one and then you realize you haven't spoken to them in months. It's the things you keep postponing because it feels so insignificant to skip, but it turns out to be important enough to quietly bother you in the background of your being. It all eventually catches up, and you just feel so disconnected. But I think part of why I kept falling back into that pattern is because, honestly, the alternative doesn't look as clean. When you focus on one thing, your life starts to feel structured. You get into a groove, your weeks follow a rhythm, and there's something very satisfying about that. But when you shift into this different way of being, where you're actually paying attention to all the parts of you, it doesn't look like that anymore. Your days stop matching each other, there's no consistent routine holding them together. Because instead of forcing one rhythm onto your life, you're just responding to the parts of you that need your attention. I realized my days don't have to look the same because I don't have the same needs every day. And sure, from the outside it can look like chaos, but internally it feels so soothing. I don't think the goal is balance necessarily, it's more like maintenance. It took me a while to trust that. Now I just try to keep things in motion, not in some strict optimized routine like I used to, just not at zero, you know? It's less like finding the right path or the perfect routine and more like keeping alive the things that make you feel alive.